Hello, it's been a busy few months here at Market HQ, and it's been an interesting lettings market with high rents, high demand, and changing dynamics across the industry. We'll start by saying that we can delete at least half of our video archive, or at least the videos that refer to the Renters Reform Bill. We're actually recording this a week before the 2024 general election, and because of the Renters Reform Bill failed to pass during the end of the Parliament wash-up, this doesn't mean that it's off the table. All parties seem to be committed to scrapping the Section 21 in their election manifestos and generally reforming parts of the industry, which is not really surprising.
Yeah, the Conservatives have committed to bringing the Renters Reform Bill back if they're re-elected, and interestingly are looking to make changes in the holiday lets industry, which is something that other parties seem to have left out. Labour have promised that they'll be exploring further avenues for tenants to make challenges to landlords for things like rent increases and discrimination. They've also said they want to bring back the minimum energy efficiency standards, which is something that we've covered quite extensively, Matt, in our videos with Craig and Pete, and we've been banging on about EPTs for ages. For years. It's something which now, a party, and I think it's common amongst some of the other ones as well, but they are committed to wanting to make those improvements to energy efficiency standards.
Well, I think net zero is not going to go away. I think that is a global kind of commitment by all countries. So I think property is seen as a very big footprint on, or something that can be changed to impact the footprint in each country. And I think especially England being quite an old country and our stock being quite old and quite leaky and not particularly energy efficient, it's obviously seen as a good route to achieve net zero. So I can't see that changing.
No, but it's interesting that all the things that we've been saying about that, it got scrapped in September last year, but that definitely seems to be something which will be revisited.
I don't think it's the down to it not being a good idea. I think it's because of the scale of the implementation, which I think when actually politicians come to that stage of how do we make this happen, it falls down because it's such a big undertaking.
That jump from E to C would have been huge for so many properties. I think it's got to be staged. I'm sure there's further detail on this, but it's one of those that's interesting that has come back, and I think will be an important part of whichever party eventually wins the election. So moving on then, the Lib Dems are suggesting longer minimum tenancy terms of 3 years to give tenants greater security. Labour actually wanted to do this in 2015, and is actually the opposite of what the Renters Reform Bill was looking to do in removing fixed terms altogether. It offers a different take on that. So quite an interesting way to look at it, giving tenants slightly longer, or giving them a lot longer. I don't know how it would work in practice, but actually it's an interesting take on that when everybody else is very different on that.
It's interesting they want to make change when actually I don't think it's particularly broken, but there we go. That's my political opinion on this.
The Greens, they want local authorities to have rent control powers to enforce rent controls. They also want to give tenants the right to demand energy improvements and introduce private tenancy tribunals. The Reform Party seems to be going against everything that everybody else is saying, scrapping the Renters Reform Bill, but they do want to monitor appeals and enforcement processes for tenants that have got grievances. They also want to restore the right for landlords to deduct finance costs from their tax returns. Let's see what happens though. As usual, as we've learnt with these things over the years, it's never in until it's in. Laws can come and go and pass and change and be amended, but until we have a known time frame with implementation dates, it's very much business as usual.
And when we know, you'll know.
Yeah. We'll do a video.
Exactly. So moving on to the local market, properties have been moving pretty quickly as demand has been higher than usual for this time of year. In May, we had over 1,000 inquiries for properties and seemingly limited stock, so competition is of course fierce. Under all conditions, the number of tenancies created over the last few months has been greater than some national averages, which is obviously great. This doesn't necessarily mean that prices have gone up massively, but they have definitely held strong. Our average rental price for May was £1,300 per month, which is nearly £300 more than this time last year. So yeah, a big increase.
Indeed, it's worth considering that just because rent is high doesn't always mean that you necessarily get the best tenants in terms of affordability, because incomes at the moment, as we know, are stretched. So for example, average income for our tenants seems to be about 28,000, and that incorporates around 60% of the tenants that we are dealing with, who have income sort of up to 30,000, which works on averages, I suppose, for the area. But that's and across nationally as well. But the difference is that rents are a lot higher here than they might be in somewhere up north, like Burnley or Blackburn or somewhere up north like that. But pricing does remain ever so important as tenants work on budgeting costs. So sometimes a £50 or £25 price drop can be all it takes to secure your next tenant.
Fine margins.
It really is, and we've seen that before with properties that might have been on, at that higher level. We've tweaked them slightly, and all of a sudden they're gone. So
well, we had it this week. We reduced one, and it rented in 24 hours. We had four offers as well. So it can also be the difference between you getting the choice of tenants and having to take the only one, which potentially comes across. So I think I think most landlords would like to have choice, but you can be kind of pushed into a corner by only having one option, and that often comes down to maybe your price just being that smidge too high.
So it's great to be back. It's been a little while since we last done a video. We've had a lot of stuff going on in the background, working on lots of things to try and help your journey as our customers and our clients, and we look forward to sharing that and you seeing that as time goes on as well. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you very soon.
See you on the next one.